guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be working on some back tricks and back flexibility in our acro. So we're going to be doing some back bends and working towards those backward walkovers as well as forward walkovers. Alright, so before we start doing some back bends, we're just going to warm up our body in a few special areas that are important to think about when we're doing our back bends. So just follow along. We're going to stretch out our wrists and then stretch out our backs. So now that we've warmed up our wrists, we're just going to practice some back bends. So if you can't do a back bend yet, that's okay, just give it your best go. We're just going to do a few. If you just want to go into a tabletop position, which is just like this, you can do that before you start working towards your back bend. So we're just going to do 3 or so back bends and rock in between to warm up our wrists and our backs. Let's go. Alright, so now that we've warmed up our wrists and our backs, let's get back into back bending. So the first thing we're going to do, if we can't do a back bend yet, is we're going to practice against a wall. So simply, I just want you to look behind, put your hands on the wall and lean back. This is just getting used to stretching our backs out without having the pressure of doing a back bend on the floor. So we might, once we feel comfortable, move forward a bit and try again. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing that on the wall until we're at about the position that we will be able to do a back bend on the floor. And then we're going to work towards those. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to start leaning back on the wall and actually walk our hands down as far as we can, so we're about to be in a back bend position. Good. So once we've achieved that back bend position on the ground, we're going to be able to work towards going into the back bend and coming out of the back bend. So the walking down the wall that we were practicing is how we will work towards being able to lean back and land in our hands in a back bend. So let's talk about some tips to getting that. So when we're going back into our back bend, our hands are going to stay right next to our head. So we're going to be squeezing our arms towards our ears so that even if we fall, our hands are literally right there to catch us. Because the moment we bend our arms is when we will hit our head, or the moment we move them out here is the moment we will fall. So we want to be careful with that and keep our arms right next to our head. We also need to look where we're going. If we are looking forward and trying to go back, it's not going to happen. But if we look towards the back and eventually towards the floor, that's how we're going to get back to the ground. So let's try that. Well done. So we've gotten back into our back bend. Now we're going to learn how to stand up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the floor and just go into our back bend from the floor. And then we're going to practice trying to stand up. All we're going to do is simply push off our hands to stand up. Again, a very good way to practice these movements is to walk our hands down the wall and then walk back up. So now we've practiced the going down and the going up motion. Now we're going to learn another way of standing up, which is called a kickover. So we're going to go back into our back bend, and one leg is going to kick and the other is going to follow. Up to standing. Now the key to getting these skills is simply practicing on a nice mat and practicing as often as possible. So the kickover, you may just start by bouncing your toes just off the mat. And then once you get more comfortable, you'll be able to kick higher and higher until eventually you get that kickover motion. We just need to make sure we're practicing on our mats. Now we've done quite a few back bends, we're just going to go back to the floor and we're going to rock our backs back and forth just to loosen up our backs a bit, because we might be feeling a bit sore, and that's okay. So let's stretch our backs out. Now that we've learnt our kickover, we're going to learn what's called a back bend kickover. So that is where we start facing the side, we do our lowering to the floor, and then we kick over out of it to standing. So it becomes one motion from standing back to standing. Let's look at that. Now once we've done our back bend kickover, we're going to slowly work towards our back walkover. So the only difference between a back walkover is it becomes one motion and we only really have one foot on the ground at a time. So what it would look like is we start with a foot up, we go back, once this foot lands, our other one is kicking over. So it only becomes one motion, we don't have a pause in between in our back bend position. So that can be quite tricky and a big step up from the back bend kickover. So just keep working on that back bend kickover until you're super confident, and then we can try the back bend walkover. Now that we've tried our back bend walkovers, we're going to work towards our forward walkovers. So our forward walkovers start from a handstand. So we're going to do another back bend stand up position, which is similar to the back bend walkover where we have that pause. So we do a handstand, we land in the back bend, and then we pull ourselves up to standing. Let's have a look. Again, keeping it on the mat, taking it slowly, working towards whatever we can do. Once we've done our handstand back bend stand up, we can do our forward walkover, which is similar to the backward walkover. We start with the 1 foot forward and we only really have 1 foot on the mat at a time. So that's all the back bend skills we're going to learn today. We're just going to do a super quick cool down using just resetting our wrists, doing some back rolls, just to cool our body down after doing those harder skills. much for watching. See you later.